Welcome to Mornstead, a prominent region within the vast and sprawling world of Lords of the Fallen. In today's extended gameplay walkthrough, we're sharing an exclusive look at just some of the diverse and harrowing areas you'll journey through in your epic quest to overthrow Adir, the demon god. Yeah. This is Skyrest Bridge. It is guarded by Pieta, she of the Blessed Renewal, one of the game's early boss encounters. We must triumph against her in order to proceed with our holy charge to restore radiance to the 6 beacons of the Sentinels and thwart Adir's uprising.
And it's not for
Melee,
you guys.
magic, and ranged abilities are seamlessly interwoven. Alongside standard attacks, you can choose
That's a very long
catalysts,
roll.
bows, crossbows, or throwables, mapping up to 4 additional magic or range skills to your controller for immediate access. This rapidly speeds up combat and reduces the need to swap between options. As with many of the imposing bosses you'll encounter, Pieta has 2 very distinct stages. Death is not necessarily the end in Lords of the Fallen. When slain in Axiom, the realm of the living, you'll resurrect in Umbral, the realm of the dead. We now have one final chance to survive.
Second chance for free, dude. That's very fucking fast walk, not gonna lie. Also kind of weird.
Though few
animated.
and far between, these flowers denote special patches of ground upon which we can spawn a resting point, known as a vestige seedling. These come at a significant resource cost, however, and we can only spawn 1 at a time. The realms of Axiom and Umbral exist in parallel. Each world features its own unique pathways, enemies, characters, and, of course, treasures. We can now use this crafted vestige to return to Axiom.
A very snappy movement. Personally, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
What is that?
Kind of shame they didn't show HUD, though. Maybe they will later.
It comes out like much later than
We can
Core.
peer into the secondary realm at any time by raising the Umbral lamp. Though be advised, this also renders you vulnerable to its inhabitants. We
And
will
that was
now use the
Striker?
lamp to cross over to Umbral, though doing so will consume 1 of our 2 lives, and it isn't so easy to return to the world of the living.
Well, it is a gimmick, but pretty cool one though. Like, people gonna like it.
Interesting.
Many enemies require
they have
a
interesting
different
double
approach
world
to
with like
combat.
different ways.
This mendacious visage, for example, is only vulnerable when attacked from the back, or when it reveals its true form.
Okay, that was weird animation, not gonna lie.
The roll is very far.
Yeah.
Very generous.
And the
Maybe too
question
much.
is how many iframes though.
You'll also come across permanent vestiges on your travels. As well as using these to return to Axiom, you can also level up your stats at these locations. 3 schools of sorcery can be mastered: Rogar, Radiant, and Umbral, each specializing in a different area of the arcane and requiring a different catalyst to cast. Our current build is adept in Rogar, characterized by devastating pyromantic attacks.
Look at that. I actually spaced it.
Feels like the game is made by Light Roll Scrubs, though.
Have you seen that though? Like, I think he cancelled healing. Like, he was about to drink some. He was about to drink something and he dashed out. Either that or I
An
just.
age-old borough built into the very cliff face, Pilgrim's Perch typifies the verticality of Moonstead. There are myriad pathways stretching both above and below, with hidden areas, treasures, and NPCs all awaiting discovery.
I love that. It looks beautiful as well. I like these levels so far.
I like the sound design here too. The rain sounded like very like meaty, like it sounded like rain. A lot of games have problems with that. Okay. Okay. Like the animations are the worst part so far. Well, not all of them, but some. Wow. It's quite a lock on distance, not only spell distance,
As a
but lock on
lamp
distance.
bearer, all players are equipped with a devastating ability, the Soul Flay. By using one of a limited number of soul charges, we are able to extract the very soul of an enemy, ready to inflict significant damage.
Yeah, it kinda looks like ability from League of Legends, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The tracking of the opponent, though, holy fuck. During the active frames, they can just track easily, apparently.
That's probably why they made the roll so far.
Mao? He didn't even fucking flinch, though.
I really like the look of the character though, like his fashion is so badass.
Yeah,
His
like,
mask.
it was even the case in First Lords of the Fallen. The style of armors was something else. Oh,
The
Platform.
Soul Flay ability can also be used to manipulate the very environment when in Umbral.
if that's going to look just like that, so you just pull stuff around, then this is such a freaking pointless gimmick, though.
Yeah,
It's just like waste of time,
That's-
honestly.
that's what I meant. Like when we first saw that, personally, like it's unnecessary. Is how I feel.
I see the names of the items are exactly like in the first Lords of the Fallen. The first one you had, for example, name of the weapon, it was like my axe or something like this.
We now find ourselves in Lower Calrath, an ever-burning district, renowned for its displays of barbarity.
Oh. The rope on the bow has very pretty animation when he shoots the arrow.
So you don't need to completely die to use some of that environment.
Yeah, it seems like.
We're now going to invite a second player to join us on our journey.
Nice.
This is easily achieved at any of the vestiges. You can choose to fight alongside a friend or a randomly selected player. Either
They
way,
look good.
your co-op companion will remain at your side for as long as you or they choose.
Oh my god, that's good.
As a Radiant Sorcerer, our ally is able to buff either character with various enhancements.
Seamless.
Seamless indeed.
It's huge though, like for game's longevity, like that is a massive plus.
Like, it's incredible that we think of it as something that is not a standard.
Yeah, that's true.
It's incredible, like...
Liking the enemy variety so far, though. It's usually something we take for granted, but in most games they just repeat all enemies, which we haven't seen so far.
Maybe they just, like, avoid showing the repetitions, though.
Yeah, but just for the amount we're seeing for each level, it's already a good sign.
Yeah, I guess. Freaking the reverse of dagger. God damn it. Oh, gesturing. There is point up. That means there might be point down.
Love the fashion of teammate here. The white
The
font.
lock-on went through the wall. I wonder if that's going to stay permanently on the target, or it's gonna be like in Elden Ring or Souls games.
It
you know.
appears our way is blocked by an umbral entity. We will need to track its tendrils in order to locate and expel the source of its power.
Teammate stays there though.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, does teammates stay in the real world or goes to Umbral?
Far I'm
Finally,
liking the
it's time
second
to
world
face
more
off
and more.
against the colossal spurned progeny, Scourge of Calrath.
He's fucking smiling.
Bosses look fun.
The lands of Mornstead await you. Pre-order Lords of the Fallen now and prepare to unleash the darkness on Friday, the 13th of October.
What I have to say is, first of all, camera work is better than the one in Souls games. So that's at least one W. I like the environments, they are looking fucking sick. Sound effects of like, for example, rain, or when like the footsteps and so on, it sounds pretty cool. Animation stuff, dude. They vary. Like, some of them are fine, some of them are very pretty, and some of them are just freaking horrendous.
Yeah, about that, honestly, I think it's better than what I anticipated. I feel like it was looking like a bigger deal in the last trailer. Like, overall, I'm actually really happy with what I'm seeing. I think the game looks really cool, and I'm definitely picking it up, or I'm definitely playing it. I'll try it to the fullest. I love the fact that there is like seamless play with your buddy. I am definitely going to use that. I think a bunch of people will love that too. We have not seen anything about PvP, but that's likely going to help PvP as well in that regard.
They didn't even mention PvP. Classic
Yeah,
from
but they
software
already
move.
Yeah, but they already confirmed it was there. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not the focus of these games, but it's fine. Overall, like for me, the only question mark I got going into this is how strong or perhaps even overpowered dodging is in this game. I'm feeling like I'm looking at light roll throughout like this entire presentation. I'm feeling like spamming roll might like trivialize like a lot of the movesets of the enemies, because you roll so far that it's not even about timing your roll, because the distance itself is so large that you
But-
can preemptively roll and you don't need to time it, is how I'm seeing things right now.
Notice how actually the roll works like so. You are rolling only if you are going to click input twice. Otherwise, it's a short dash.
Right, so every time he rolls, there's a small dash before that? I didn't
Yeah.
notice.
Yep.
Okay, that's a huge deal. I didn't even notice. Shame on me, dude. Let me check.
I am just familiar with this mechanic. I have been playing games that have it. That also means that mayhaps the dash is actually on the click instead of on the release, which would be nice, not gonna lie. There is like a moment where the guy makes a jump and after that lands. The roll is very pretty after like landing. I like it. It's very, very smooth. I kinda like, I mean, it looks like the jump from Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't look like the jump from Elden Ring. So I am pretty sure like the jump mechanic is gonna be like in the old...
Well, I mean, it's not like, you know, you love Dark Souls 2, I love Dark Souls 3. The jump mechanic is really, I think, a big positive in Elden Ring, but it's not
Yeah,
key
absolutely.
factor.
Absolutely. I'm just like trying to spot like mechanics and that's it, yeah?
Right. I'm just worried about the roll distance from watching this. Like, that's the only concern I have right now. Like, said that roll distance is extremely large. And don't get me wrong, it could work if, for instance, like the enemy attack range, like if we look at this mob here, if the attack range or the forward momentum is that much bigger and the roll is adjusted around their attack range or the attack range in general of most attacks to be longer, that works. But if it's very close range is when you could kind of trivialize a lot of things by like these very, very long rolls like that.
So let me tell you that, like, that's completely different dev team. But if they are going to go after what the previous team did in Lords of the Fallen, the first one from 2014, then there is no iframes at the beginning of the roll.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the iframes kicks in for a very short span of time, somewhere in like middle of the roll. That's essentially how it was solved in the Lords of the Fallen from 2014. So yeah, against mobs, you technically wanted to do the roll
dash
very early.
Or you would do the dash, because I'm assuming like from that probably means that the dash probably has like frame 1 iframe and then the roll has
Maybe.
light iframe. Right?
Maybe.
I mean, we're just like it's just a theory at this point, but
that's it.
if that's the case, though, that would definitely help. But like what I'm thinking right now, you know, we're watching this, and this is like choreographed gameplay almost, and like you don't see any instance of the character doing 2 rolls in a row, right? Because that's what I'm thinking. Like players are going to be spamming the dodge button. We have not seen instance in this whole presentation of the player spamming dodge more than once in a row.
Because maybe it's impossible.
Well, I mean, we saw it with multiple dashes in a row in the previous trailer, so it's definitely possible. But I'm just thinking, like, what is going to be the distance of rolling twice in a row here? That's going to be a massive distance, enough to probably trivialize, I'm assuming, a lot of the game, honestly.
Probably.
That's the only concern I have.
Probably the question is how much stamina you, for example, wasting per roll, yeah? Because like you had a perfect example is Dark Souls 2, yeah? With Dark Souls 2, even if you are using the text that basically allow you to double roll, it really doesn't matter that much for the sake of spacing, for the sake of roll catching, PvP, and so on. Because of the stamina management, like being such important thing in that game, yeah, and you're gonna do like.
But Dark Souls 2 doesn't have far rolls though. Like it has good roll distance.
Oh, like on the 10% equip load, it has fucking humongous roll distance actually. So it depends on your equip load. You actually like I would say like the roll distance may be very, very long in Dark Souls 2 with certain builds. Because there is a difference between in the distance between 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 70%. But yeah, it's really like depends how the gameplay is gonna play out, yeah. Because if it's technically like, you know, stamina management is similar to Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring, then we are fucked. And this game gonna be like fucking roll fest. Everyone gonna have free BHS. If the gameplay is more like Dark Souls 2 when it comes to stamina management and so on, that's probably very bearable. On top of that, from that what I see, there is not much of the open spaces in the arenas in this game.
I don't
So-
mind that. It's more like level design, which is fine, really.
I think of about it like from the perspective of the roles still, like and in potential PvP. So like you know
Right, because you're gonna get situations where someone is cornered anyway.
exactly. So yeah, that might be like that's really
I
like
don't
a lot
know.
of
I don't know
questions.
because the whole point is always like that you avoid danger by rolling backwards. So even if the plane is like a very long rectangle, if you trivialize by going backward your direction,
Might be
it
true.
doesn't really matter if it's a full plane versus rectangle.
Yep. Well, as I said, it all depends how they actually solve the situation with the iframes in there, yeah. But overall, like, I definitely cannot wait to play that one. I am this. It's fucking great. Like, we got Elden Ring patch right now that is so incredibly refreshing. Then it's gonna be Armored Core. Then they're gonna be Starfield, and then you are
Yeah, it's
doing-
crazy.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. It really looks like something I want to play. Like I might have some criticism here and there when it comes to certain aspects. I would love to know more about, for example, PvP things. Like shame, like they didn't mention at all. Like despite that it's not being main focus of games like that, obviously. It is still part of the game and quite important. You are going to have seamless cooperation in there without any interruptions, and well, like how like and on top of that you have invasions, and you have interactions between invader and the host in form of that umbral world. What's going to happen when the player is going to kill you? Like, are you going to be sent to the umbral world and you still have a chance to get back with your gameplay?
The invader.
Yeah, and
I
maybe
don't think so.
maybe invader actually is not getting to umbral. Maybe like if you maybe that's actually the thing. Maybe invader invades you, kills you.
Only in Umbral though, maybe.
Maybe in
I
umbral.
think.
Maybe, or maybe like you die as a human, you get into umbral, and then invader is being sent home.
Yeah, probably something like that. That's going to be interesting. The stats. Look at this guy's stats. He has 50 and everything.
At which minute you have stats? Freaking casual.
I was really happy that what we were looking at was light load. That took care of a lot of my worries. Like I'm not worried as much knowing that what we were watching most likely was light load.
You have like 6 stats. 4 of them are apparently the damage stats, like intelligence, faith, dexterity, and strength equivalent from Souls games. And then you have endurance and vitality, which is HP, and equip loud plus stamina, most likely. Which is like it's little bit simpler, yeah. Than you don't have any sort of bullshitter like mind, like resistance from Dark Souls 1. You don't have something like adaptability from Dark Souls 2.
It's not that necessary either, honestly.
Yeah.
I think a stat spread like what they have might actually be better than what From Software has. If
Absolutely.
I'm being honest.
On top of that, you have only 4 types of damage elements. You have physical, fire, holy, and wither. There is not that many like different elements that you could utilize and so on. Let's say that I guess min-maxing might be not that complicated. Let's call it that way. We're gonna see.
Right.
But, yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Absolutely.
Wait a
But-
sec though, look at that. Have you noticed that? There's abilities here with weapons and they all have a dedicated button. So that leaves only like circle and B or B to like be the dodge or like you said, Steel, they're going to be the same button now. Now that we know this, there's not any other button for the dash. It's probably the same button for both rolling, dashing, and sprinting.
I mean, honestly, it might be solved in the way that you gotta have to hold Alt2 and then you have to click these buttons. Because
Yeah, it could be that, but I don't know, dude. Like all of them are assigned to one button.
Yeah, because
It's an interesting piece of info, though.
let me elaborate on that. Like there is no parries in this game. Like you don't have okay, there are parries, but like not in the way
We've
like
seen parries.
Actually, you know what? We have seen animation. The question is,
We've seen full parry like from start to finish.
the question is if this parry is not activated by just clicking the block in correct moment, and then you have the animation. Because what they were mentioning before is that like you have kind of similar system to Sekiro, where you're like clicking the block in the correct moment, and that is essentially triggering like a parry. Or
I'll
like
have to rewatch it.
some sort of deflect, yeah. So that's actually makes me believe that maybe like, you know, this is working the way that you are hold, like for example L2, and then you click A, X, Y, R1 or R2, and that's how you are essentially casting the spells. What I have noticed at the bottom, you have one interesting thing. On the
Photo mode.
Photo mode, yeah.
Photo mode.
Wonder if you can utilize it in the freaking invasions, like for example in Demon Souls, to just look around the corners.
Yeah, I remember that. Maybe it's going to be grayed out in multiplayer. Maybe it's only a single player feature, or it's like you said, like it just simply does not stop time, like in Demon Souls, and you can use that as a UAV to like scan the area.
I mean, like so far, I think the game is like looking designed just fine. Honestly, like I'm looking forward. Like I like the environments. They are very claustrophobic, but I think it is absolutely fine. I like it. I know for the fact that I mean, like it depends how well it is interconnected, but they are proudly announcing that this is the interconnected world, kind of similar to Dark Souls 1. So yeah, you can essentially, like, technically it's supposed to be well taught. So it's we're gonna see how it's going to play out.
About the interconnected world, I'm actually happy about what I saw of the lamp and the Umbra world gimmick. I thought it would be like more annoying, but the fact that it's legitimately like two different levels in the Umbra and the normal world, and you have to really use both to solve like puzzles within the game. The fact that they really implement both, I think that takes care of my worry regarding this gimmick. However, the grabbing a platform, like from what I saw, because you could walk with your lamp, like you could activate your lamp in a part of the trailer. Let's see here, he does it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, but the fact that he can activate the lamp in part of the trailer to just, oh, we just saw it, to just walk over a platform here. Look at that. He activates the lamp, and then he uses the lamp from the Umbra world to see a platform that's not here in the real world, and then he uses that to walk over and traverse through. So I think these types of things are really nice. On the other hand, though, we have the platform around here. We have the platform here. But like, I think the purpose of the platform is not even for the platforming. It's just that if you were to go by the last clip we saw here, where he uses the lamp to traverse, he could use the lamp to traverse here. It's just because there's a platform here, he cannot keep traversing, and he needs to do a full switch to the world, because he's not going to be able to grab the platform here while holding the lamp. So like, he needs to fully switch to the world, then walks over, and then he grabs it. So the grab here is pretty much to block the character from progressing just with the lamp. You know what I mean, guys? So this is something I've noticed throughout this thing. So everything kind of works in a sense that like those platforms kind of serve to block off you going into the Umbra world with just the lamp, is what I'm noticing here. So I think that's what the purpose is of those platforms. It's not really for parkour or anything interesting. It's really just to block off from you walking like all over the Umbra world just with the lamp. That's my take on that.
I'm actually curious about one thing in regards of what you just said, yeah, because sometimes Umbral World just gets into the way of the game in, let's call it, open I don't know, the world of the living, whatever, the real world, let's call it that way. What about invaders? Does that mean like invaders
maybe the invader can use the lamp too?
Yeah, maybe, but like, what about situations like you just mentioned? Sometimes you have to go all into the Umbral world because you need to use some sort of the platform, whatever. Like, how it is going to be solved? Like, I'm actually quite curious, because that would indicate that Invader also needs to have access to the Umbral world. So like it might be legitimately, like you were saying before, like that maybe perhaps Umbral world is the only invadable place. If you're a regular human, you just like cannot be invaded or something. I have no idea.
Yeah, that could be it. But honestly, I'm not too worried about that because they're gonna have to. This is like such a basic problem that I cannot see them like overlooking something so big. So I'm not really worried about that personally.
You are playing From Software games and you are not worried about basic shit. That's very brave of you, not gonna lie.
Nah, dude, there's just no way they would like have it so that the player can just like run off into the Umberworld and the invader like can't follow it like that. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I guess there is no way that, for example, Invader could invade a world of group that is, for example, in the boss room. No,
that's different though. No. You're grasping at straws there. Like it can happen that you can have like connection issues. Well, not connection issues, but like they enter whatever zone and you happen to invade at the moment they entered like X or Y zone. Like that's more of a bug. That's not like a design flaw per se. Like that's more like it happened at the wrong time. Like that obviously can happen, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's make it clear. I'm not exactly serious about that one, but
it's a good. I think it's important to mention it just to make sure everyone gets it.
I am just looking at the gameplay of freaking Rivers of Daggers around 13 minutes, and the guy is just freaking blocking the projectiles by just putting like the X like in front of him, like made out of these daggers. Motherfucker has endurance for days. Like he's probably in the early game location on that maxed out characters with 50 to everything.
It's kind of crazy though that you can block that much with daggers.
Yeah,
it's a bit insane.
Well, I am happy to see point up because that means they're going to be point down.
I can't get over the fact that they're doing multiplayer properly from what I'm seeing with the seamless thing. To me, that's like probably one of the most important thing for the game. Like if you want the game to have longevity, you need to make it easy to connect with your friend and to play with your friend and not make it tedious like Elden Ring does. Play with your buddy and so you have to like resummon your friend every time. You can have long play session, just have fun with your friend, you guys stay together and just keep playing the game together. I think that's a very big positive and one of the biggest deal that's not really going to be spoken about much, I feel, by most.
PvP is important thing that gives the longevity, but co-op is even more. Like there is just that much more co-opers than PvP gamers around, and it's actually great for us.
That plays with humans.
It's
great for us too.
Yeah, it's gonna give us more opportunities to just invade people because people are gonna be more keen to play in co-op because they don't have to fucking leave the world of their friends every single time the weakest boss in the open world going to be two-shotted. So yeah, here is that.
Riposo. Oh man. Hello, gamer. Memory's broken. Freedom goes unspoken.